Imagine a country facing rising sea levels, devastating cyclones, and widespread poverty. This isn't a scene from a dystopian future, it's the reality for millions in Bangladesh. This South Asian nation, home to the world's largest delta, is grappling with a complex crisis fueled by climate change and economic vulnerability. The people of Bangladesh, known for their resilience and spirit, are facing unimaginable challenges. Their homes are threatened by rising waters, their livelihoods disrupted by extreme weather events, and their futures shrouded in uncertainty. The world watches as this crisis unfolds, but it's time to move beyond observation and into action. The Bangladesh crisis is not merely a regional concern, it's a global wake-up call. The interconnectedness of our world means that the consequences of climate change and poverty in one nation will inevitably ripple outwards, affecting us all. This essay aims to shed light on the multifaceted challenges confronting Bangladesh, highlighting their global implications and outlining practical solutions that demand collective action. Together, we can make a difference. Bangladesh is a nation of stark contrasts, where vibrant culture and natural beauty coexist with grinding poverty and environmental fragility. Home to over 160 million people, it's one of the most densely populated countries on Earth. Despite economic progress, many remain vulnerable, especially in rural areas. Economic disparity worsens the impact of climate change, leaving communities ill-equipped to cope. Bangladesh's low-lying delta location makes it highly susceptible to climate change. Rising sea levels threaten coastal land, displacing millions and jeopardizing agriculture. Extreme weather events like cyclones and floods compound these challenges. The crisis in Bangladesh is not an isolated incident. It's a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of our world. The consequences of climate change and poverty transcend national borders, affecting global stability, security, and prosperity. The displacement of millions due to rising sea levels could trigger a mass migration crisis with far-reaching implications for neighboring countries and beyond. The strain on resources, infrastructure, and social systems could lead to political instability and conflict. Furthermore, Bangladesh plays a crucial role in the global economy, particularly in the garment industry, employing millions and supplying goods worldwide. The disruption of this industry due to climate change could have significant economic repercussions, impacting global supply chains and consumer markets. The crisis in Bangladesh underscores the urgent need for global cooperation to address the root causes of climate change and poverty. Failure to act decisively will have dire consequences, not just for Bangladesh, but for the entire world. In the face of such immense challenges, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and powerless. However, it's crucial to remember that individual actions, when multiplied by millions, can create a ripple effect of positive change. We can make conscious choices in our daily lives to reduce our carbon footprint, from conserving energy at home to opting for sustainable transportation and supporting businesses committed to ethical and environmental practices. Educating ourselves about the crisis in Bangladesh and raising awareness among our networks is paramount. By sharing information, engaging in meaningful conversations, and advocating for change, we can amplify the voices of those most affected and inspire others to take action. Supporting organizations working on the front lines of climate change mitigation and poverty alleviation in Bangladesh is another impactful way to contribute. Every dollar donated, every hour volunteered, and every action taken brings us closer to a more just and sustainable future. Section 5. A call for collective action. Governments and international organizations. Addressing a crisis of this magnitude requires a coordinated global response, with governments and international organizations playing a pivotal role in driving systemic change. Developed nations, historically the largest emitters of greenhouse gases, have a moral obligation to provide financial and technological assistance to developing countries like Bangladesh, enabling them to transition to low-carbon economies and build resilience against climate impacts. International organizations, such as the United Nations, must play a leading role in facilitating cooperation, coordinating aid efforts, and holding nations accountable for their commitments to climate action and poverty reduction. Policy changes are essential to create an enabling environment for sustainable development. Governments must implement policies that promote renewable energy, energy efficiency, sustainable agriculture, and climate-resilient infrastructure, while phasing out fossil fuel subsidies and investing in green technologies. Section 6. Investing in a sustainable future, green technologies and infrastructure. Transitioning to a low-carbon, climate-resilient future requires significant investments in green technologies and infrastructure, particularly in developing countries like Bangladesh that are on the front lines of climate change. Renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and hydropower offer a clean and sustainable alternative to fossil fuels, reducing greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating the impacts of climate change. Investing in energy-efficient technologies and practices can significantly reduce energy consumption, lowering both carbon emissions and energy costs. This includes promoting energy-efficient buildings, appliances, and transportation systems. Sustainable agriculture practices such as agroforestry and conservation agriculture can enhance food security, improve livelihoods, and sequester carbon from the atmosphere, contributing to both climate change mitigation and adaptation. Section 7. Empowering communities, education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. Addressing the root causes of poverty and vulnerability is crucial for building resilience against climate change and fostering sustainable development. Investing in quality education, particularly for girls, empowers individuals, strengthens communities, and equips future generations with the knowledge and skills to adapt to a changing world. Improving access to healthcare services, including sanitation and hygiene, is essential for reducing vulnerability to climate-related health risks and enhancing overall well-being. Creating economic opportunities, particularly for women and youth, through skills development, microfinance initiatives, and support for small and medium-sized enterprises, can break the cycle of poverty and foster sustainable economic growth. Section 8. Building resilience, disaster preparedness, and climate adaptation. Bangladesh has a long and tragic history of facing natural disasters. Building resilience to these events is paramount for protecting lives, livelihoods, and development gains. Investing in early warning systems, evacuation plans, and disaster preparedness training can significantly reduce the human and economic costs of cyclones, floods, and other extreme weather events. Climate-resilient infrastructure such as cyclone shelters, elevated roads, and flood-resistant housing is crucial for withstanding the impacts of climate change and protecting communities from harm. Ecosystem-based adaptation measures, such as mangrove restoration and coastal afforestation, can act as natural barriers against storm surges, erosion, and sea level rise, while also providing livelihoods and ecosystem services. Section 9. A shared responsibility, our interconnected world. The crisis in Bangladesh is a stark reminder that we live in an interconnected world where the consequences of our actions or inaction have global implications. Addressing this crisis is not a matter of charity, but a matter of shared responsibility. The fate of Bangladesh is inextricably linked to our own, and our collective future depends on our ability to act decisively and collaboratively. Let us rise to the challenge, not with despair, but with a renewed sense of urgency, compassion, and determination. Together we can make a difference in the lives of millions in Bangladesh and create a more just and sustainable future for all.